We continue now at the top of Daf Tzadi Hey Amud Aleph and Meseches Menachos. This is Menachos Daf 95a. On the previous summer, there was a machlokas amoraim. What was the shape of the lechem haponim? According to Rabbi Chanina, the shape was like an open box, essentially flat on the bottom, and then two walls on the side. And according to Rabbi Yochanan, it was like a fast ship, essentially in the shape of a V. And the Gemara says, Meisvei, we have a question on Rabbi Yochanan from the following brisa. The brisa says, Kamin keveres hayala betanor. There was a sort of a basket for the bread in the oven, and this basket was a mold in which it was baked. V'doma kamin tavla merubas, and it was similar in shape to a square table. By saying that it was shaped like a square table, it seems to be like Rabbi Chanina's opinion. It does not seem to be like Rabbi Yochanan, that it's in the shape of a V, like a ship. And the Gemara continues and answers, Amos say, the Brisa means to say, Ufia, that its opening was domekim in tabla merubas, was similar to a square tablet, and therefore if it is just the opening, it is possible that follows the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan, again, that it was shaped like a ship. And the Gemara continues, Tanya command Amar kamin svina rokedis. We have a Brisa, according to the one who says that it was shaped like a fast ship. The Tanya, as we learned in a Brisa, Arba snifin shel zav hayusham. There were 4 props of gold that were there, mefutzalin meirashein, and they had projections at their tops. Kimin dikronin hayu, and those projections were like branched reeds. Shesomchin bohenas alechem, and they supported the loaves. Shehudome kimin svina rokedis, and the loaves were similar to a fast ship, and so therefore explicitly in this brisa, it seems to be like Rabbi Yochanan. And the Gemara continues, Iboilhu, they had the following question, Lechem haponim nifsal b'masos, so eno nifsal b'masos, the lechem haponim, was it disqualified when they were traveling in the midbar, or was it not disqualified? The lechem haponim is supposed to remain in the azara of the Beis HaMikdash, or the azara of the Mishkan in the case of the midbar, and so over here when they're traveling, there is no azara, there is no courtyard. And the Gemara says this is a machlokas amoroim, Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi. It's a machlokas between Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi. Chad Amar nifsal, one says it was disqualified, v'chad Amar eno nifsal, and the other one says that it was not disqualified. And the Gemara continues and explains, Ma'an Damar nifsal, the one that says that it is disqualified, Tichsiv, because it's written in the pasuk, Kasher yachanu kein yiso, it says, as they encamp, so they journey, and Ma b'chaniyaso nifsal biyotze, just like when they're encamped, it would become disqualified if it leaves the courtyard of the Mishkan. Af b'nesiyaso, so too when they travel, nifsal biyotze, there is that disqualification of yotze. And Man Damar eno nifsal, the one that says that it is not disqualified, Tichsiv, as it's written in the pasuk, V'lechem hatamid olav yeh, it says that constantly the bread will be upon the shulchan. This is the shulchan in the Mishkan. And so therefore, since it says it's going to be there constantly, it means to say even while journeying it is going to be there, and therefore it is valid even during that time. And the Gemara continues, V'idach nami, in this other opinion also, Haksiv kasher yachanu ken yiso, isn't it written kasher yachanu ken yiso? What is done with that pasuk? And the Gemara says, L'idach gisa, you learn it in the other direction. Ma b'chaniyaso, just like when they're encamped, ki lo yatzam in mekomo lo mifsal, when it doesn't leave its place, it is not disqualified. Af b'nesiyaso, so too when they traveled, ki lo yatzam in mekomo, if it doesn't leave its place, lo mifsal, it is not disqualified. And so the idea is, even while traveling, if it was on the shulchan, it would not be disqualified. And the Gemara continues, V'idach nami, now the other opinion also, Haksiv v'lechem hatamid olav yeh, what does that opinion do with the pasuk of v'lechem hatamid olav yeh, which again implies that there's no disqualification, and the Gemara here essentially concludes that this pasuk is definitive. As long as the bread is on the table, even while traveling, it will not be disqualified. And so therefore the Gemara continues with another explanation of the machlokas amoroim. Ela ki yasser Rav Dimi Amar, rather when Rav Dimi came, he said, b'mesudr dekuli alma lo pligi, in a situation where it is arranged, so there is no machlokas. If the bread is still arranged upon the shulchan while they're journeying, it's no machlokas. It certainly is going to be valid. Ela ki pligi, when are they arguing b'mesulak? They're arguing only when it is removed. Mandam or nifsal, the one who says that it's disqualified. Tichsiv kasher yachanu ken yiso, again it says as they encamp, so they travel. And ma b'chaniyaso nifsal biyotze, just like when they're encamped, there's a disqualification of yotze. Af b'nesiyaso, so too when traveling, mifsal biyotze, there is this disqualification of yotze. And lamandam or eno nifsal, the one that says that there's no disqualification. Tichsiv, because it's written v'nosa oel moed, it says the oel moed will travel, and we understand from that pasuk afal pishanasa, even though they're traveling, ohel moed, who it still is classified as the ohel moed, and so therefore it is not going to be a problem of yotze. V'idach nami, in the other opinion also, haksiv kasher yachanu ken yiso, again, isn't it written kasher yachanu ken yiso? Isn't that a reason to say that it is disqualified? And the Gemara says, L'idach gisa, you can learn it in the other direction. Ma b'chaniyaso, just like when they're encamped, ki lo mapik le lo mifsal, if it's not removed from the camp of the Levium, it's not disqualified. Af b'nesiyaso, so too during travel, ki lo mapik le, if it's not removed from the camp of the Levium, so lo mifsal, it will not be disqualified. And ve'idach nami, now the other opinion also, haksiv v'nasa oel moed, isn't it written v'nasa oel moed? Doesn't that mean that even while traveling, it is considered the oel moed and it should not be disqualified? And the Gemara continues and says to that, hahu l'degolim hu da'asa. This pasuk is simply telling us the formation of the traveling. Literally, the Gemara is saying that this verse comes to teach us the place of the Mishkan among the banners during their travels. And the Gemara continues, V'idach, now the other opinion, mimachana halaviyim besocha machanos nafka. We can learn out from somewhere else the formation of the travels. It says in the pasuk, mimachana halaviyim, from the camp of the Levium, besocha machanos, within the machanos, and that essentially tells us the formation of travel. And the Gemara continues, Meisveh, we have a question from the following Braisa. The Braisa says, B'shas siluk masos, during the time of the removal of the Mishkan in preparation for traveling, Kodshim nifsalin b'yotzei, Kodshim are disqualified in Yotzei, in leaving the proper area, V'zavin u'mitzoroin, and Zavin and Mitzoroin, Zavin and Mitzoroin are tamei for various reasons, Mishtalchin chutz l'mechitzos, and they are sent outside of their particular partitions. And the Gemara says, My lav, is it not? Isn't this Braisa saying, Afilu lechem aponim, that even the lechem aponim, meaning even the lechem aponim, is going to be disqualified through Yotzei? And the Gemara says, Lo, no, bar mi lechem aponim. It means with the exception of the lechem aponim. But the Gemara continues, Monavshach. Either way we look at it, this should be problematic. Oel moed dafku, if oel moed is meant to be taken precisely, meaning even while journeying, it continues to have the status of a mishkan, so afilu kachim nami, so even kachim also should not be disqualified. And oel moed lav dafku, if oel moed is not precise, so afilu lechem aponim nami, so then even the lechem aponim, again, it should be problematic, it should be disqualified by the lechem aponim. And so the Gemara continues and again revises its understanding of the machlokas amoraim above. In fact, it's not a machlokas at all. Elokiyasa Rav and Amar, rather, when Ravin came, he said, Mar Amar b'Mesuder. One Amora, one master was talking when the lechem aponim was still arranged on the shulchan, on the table. In that case, it's not disqualified. Umar Amar b'Mesulak, and the other one was making his statement when it was removed from the shulchan, and that's why it is disqualified. V'lo pligi, and they're not arguing. And the Gemara continues, Amar Abaya, Abaya says, Shma mino, we see from here, Yesh siluk masos balayla. They would dismantle the Mishkan in order to travel even at night. Because if it should enter your mind that they would not dismantle the Mishkan at night, so in that case, Emas Medali, when are the curtains that delineate where the courtyard is of the Mishkan, when are they carried away? Let's say they're going to be carried away in the morning. And so if that's the case, so my irya misham yotzei, what do you even need to discuss a disqualification of yotzei? There's a different disqualification. Typically, the ifsal, but lebelina, we should say that there's a disqualification of lina, of being left overnight. And Abaya's proof over here is specifically from the Braisa above, because the Braisa above was discussing Kachim, and again there would be a psul, there would be a disqualification of Lina if this happened in the morning, and so therefore it must be that there was traveling at night. But the Gemara continues and asks, Pshita, it's obvious, meaning why does Abaya even need to teach this? It should be obvious that there was traveling at night and they would dismantle the Mishkan at night, because the pasuk says, Lo leches yomam v'layla, to travel day and night, and so therefore it's an explicit pasuk, ksiv, that's written in the pasuk. And the Gemara continues and says, no, Ma'u D'Tema, what might you have said? Hani mili heicha de akar biyamama. Maybe that's only true in a situation where they were uprooted during the day, meaning if they began journeying during the day, so they would continue at night. Aval heicha de lo akar biyamama, but if they didn't uproot during the day, so one might think belel yelo matzu akri, that at night they're not able to uproot, they don't dismantle at night, and so kamash malon, that's what Abai is teaching, that they even dismantle at night. And the Gemara continues and asks, or Ramini, we have a contradiction from the following Braisa on the Braisa above. The Braisa above said that at the time of the dismantling of the Mishkan, so the Zavim and the Mitzoraim, they were sent out of the encampments. But this Braisa says, Huglalu haparochos, when the curtains were rolled up, this is talking about the curtains surrounding the courtyard of the Mishkan, it says the exact opposite, Hutru hazavin and Mitzoraim, likanis lasham, that the Zavin and the Mitzoraim, they were permitted to enter there. And so the Gemara continues, Amar Rav Ashi says to that, Lokash, it's not difficult. Ha Rabbi Eliezer, ha Rabbanan. One Braisa is Rabbi Eliezer, and the other Braisa is the Rabbanan, Titania, as we learned in the following Braisa, and we will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Tzadi Hey Amid Beis.